Ellie, I think I'll let you take it away.
Sweet. I'm just admitting a couple more people here. Hey, Fiza. All right, so as Ms. Clark said, my name is Ellie Marin. I am a 12th grade college and career coordinator with the Gear Up grant at South High School, and also Ms. Clark's school counseling intern. That is not why we're wearing matching outfits. That was a total accident, but we're not mad about it. So I will be presenting today on the Understanding the College Application essay. And just an overview of what we're going to talk about today. We'll do a little activity. So if you would like to participate, you'll need either a pen and paper, or you can also use like the Notes app on your phone, or quick type them in the computer. You can also just be an observer. We'll talk a little bit about what is the college admissions essay. I will give the top 10 tips and guidelines from current college essay readers. Then a couple reminders and resources, and then we'll have a little Q&A with myself and Ms. Clark, a school counselor. So first are parts of an application activity. So you are going to rank the following 14 items from 1 to 14 in which you think are least important to most important as far as a college essay. Okay, so 1 is the most important and 14 is the least. You will have 2 minutes. On your marks, get set, go. All right, a couple more seconds here. Finish up your final thoughts. All right, so if you look up at the screen, it will show the answers, and I've highlighted the top 5 there, but if you want to compare your answers, if anyone feels like they want to type it in the chat of how many they got right, usually there's a cool prize involved, but in this virtual setting, you'll have to just take the prize as the winner. All right, while we're counting, we'll go over kind of just quickly. I won't talk about all of them. But the first one, we have the grades in all courses. So those are going to be obviously the grades on your transcripts you've gotten from 9th until 12th grade. Second one, grades in college prep courses. So that's kind of similar as the first one. If you've taken any of those AP, CIS, or PSEO classes. And then we've got the admission tests and scores, which this year, almost all colleges are not requiring the ACT or SAT. So that bumps our Next one, strength of curriculum to third this year. Again, that's going to kind of be like your whole transcript. And then our fifth or fourth this year is going to be essay or writing sample. And then you can see as the list goes on, kind of where the importance of all those fall. Again, this is not going to be true for every single college, but this was the average of large colleges in 2019. So we'll start by talking a little bit about what is this college essay you're going to be writing here pretty soon. So it's going to be the essay section of a school's application. It can be a couple different things. It can be a traditional essay. It can be a short answer question. It could be multiple short answer questions, little boxes you'll fill out. It all depends on the school, what you're applying. If you are using the Common application, which I know a lot of our students do, you will use what's called a predetermined prompt, which I'll show you on the next slide. And it's just, you know, what they tell you to write about. And those can differ definitely by school, type of school, or even within the prompts that you'll see in the next slide can get really different. So as we saw before in the previous slide for our activity, it's the first non-academic aspect looked at on a college application. So fifth overall or fourth if there's no testing. So, you know, those first top ones are really going to be about your transcripts, your grades, the preparatory classes you took, and the essay is really going to be that first chance, that first way that the admissions counselors get to know you, the student, and what you're going to bring to campus, right? So it's the chance for the students to set them apart from the other candidates. You know, there might be a lot of students who got A's in math or were in the top 25% of their class, or any of those qualifying factors. The essay is going to be kind of what's going to set you apart and hopefully get you that admittance to the school. So I won't read all these word for word, and these are also available online on the Common App website. These are the 7 prompts that the Common App has used. I think this is for the past 3 years they've stayed the same. So this gives you a pretty good idea of what some college prompts will look like. And what you'll see a common theme in these is it's going to talk about you personally. So it's going to talk about, as you'll see in the first one, a background, identity, interest, or talent. Then you've got a problem you solved or a challenge you overcome. Something I like about the Common App is at the bottom it says, share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one you already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. So if you're a really creative thinker, or if you have an essay that you've already written about yourself in one of your English classes and it really is something you feel proud about, maybe you talk with your counselor about that essay and that's what you use for the Common App. So a lot of different options, but I will tell you, you are going to be talking about yourself. All right, and so now we'll talk about the 10 essay writing tips, now that we know a little bit about what the essay is. And these are coming from the admissions counselors, AKA the people who read these essays. So the first tip is going to be start early. You've probably heard this from your school counselor during our seniors. If you're in the My Life Plan lesson, we're telling you to start early. These deadlines are creeping up on us pretty soon here. And we just want to make sure that you have the ability to have it proofread, to have it you know, sent in time, and that you're not up till midnight the night before writing this essay. We want you to give your best work. The second one is analyze the prompt thoroughly. So as we saw with our prompts, they are not super short. Most of them have 2 to 4 parts in each one. So as you'll see, I kind of highlighted, describe a topic, why does it captivate you, what or who. So that's 3 questions they're asking, and you only have, you know, up to maybe 750 or 1,000 words to write it. So you're going to want to be concise, and you're going to want to make sure you answer all the questions that they ask, because you're not only you know, answering their questions, but you're also showing that you can follow directions. And then, excuse me, the third is know your vocabulary. So I mean, I wouldn't suggest overusing the thesaurus, but making sure that you're writing with, you know, all these skills you built up over these 4 years of English and putting your best writing and trying to make it college level writing because that's what you're aiming for. The fourth tip from the essay readers was to organize your writing. Print your essay out and see what it looks like on a piece of paper. Is it nice to look at? Are the sections separated, or is it just all one big chunk of words? You know, think when you pick up a magazine, it's much easier to read an article that's easy on the eyes rather than just one that takes up the whole paper, for me at least. These admissions counselors are reading a lot of essays, sometimes tens of thousands of essays, depending on the college you're applying to. And we don't want yours to be a challenge to read or a workout. The fifth tip is to be honest. It's easy to oversell yourself when you know the stakes are high, or you know, you're feeling really passionate about getting into this college. But just remember that the admissions committee can call you and ask you for an over the phone interview and expand on something they read in your essay, or ask for a certification or anything that you do bring up in that essay. So make sure we're being honest. The sixth one, this one's my absolute favorite one, find a creative angle. So as we said, some of these essay readers are reading thousands of essays. And this essay is the first way to make you as a student stand out you know, to them as a human rather than just a GPA or an ACT score. So what's going to make you stand out among other students? Is it a funny pun, an anecdote about your childhood, an elaboration about your favorite color? What's unique about you that the reader will remember even if after they move on from their essay? You know, they're making those admissions decisions and they see your packet come up and they're like, oh yeah, this student who talked about, you know, made that funny joke in their essay about, you know, their English class or something like that. I was at a college visit at Hamlin with some students last year, and the admissions counselor told us that the most memorable essay from the 2019 admissions season was a girl who did every paragraph she opened with a potato pun. I'm not necessarily recommending you open with a pun in every single paragraph, but that's just one example of a way to stand out and, you know, brighten up your application a little bit. So the seventh one is going to be show instead of tell. You've probably heard this from your English teachers before. So an example would be, I will succeed in college because I'm a leader. Although that's definitely true and an awesome thing to say about yourself, when you're writing an essay, the essay readers are really looking for you to show them. I have extensive leadership experience by being a part of Girl Scouts for 10 years and doing XYZ. So you can say you're a leader, but how are you going to show them? Like we talked about, that proof and being honest and saying exactly what you've done. Readers love specific instances or stories about you. Again, just give them insight into who you are and what makes you unique. This was a recommendation from the readers. Don't try to be something you're not. If you're not a joke teller, if you're more of a serious person, take the essay that way. If you're funny, if you're a joke person, take it that way. Really be true and authentic to your personality. Again, you might have heard this from your English teachers before, spell check and grammar check. You know, make sure this is your first attempt at college level writing. But I do like to mention, don't stress too much on this. One misplaced comma is not going to not get you into the U of M, but just do your best. And finally, like I said a little bit above, don't stress too much. Don't over edit or ask for too much feedback. As I'll talk about in this slide, who should be reading your essay, we really want to keep that feedback to a minimum. Someone who knows you very well should be editing your essay. Too many eyes on the essay. When people edit an essay, the goal is to mark it up with a red pen, right? And we want the essay to be authentic and in your voice as the student, right? So someone who knows what your voice sounds like, who isn't gonna, take out those unique things about you or maybe a joke here or there. Someone who understands a little bit about the college essay process. So if there are parents listening, you've learned a little bit about the essay, you might be a good editor for your student. Or another relative. Your school counselor is a good resource. Your school coordinators, your English teacher, other teachers in the building, your writer's room, staff. Maybe you have a mentor, a coach, a boss you're close to. My gymnastics coach edited my college essay when I was applying to colleges. Someone who's gonna be able to read it in your voice and know what you're trying to portray in your essay. So I think, yeah, usually at this time, we do another activity, but it's not possible over virtual. So I think I will give a couple resources for the college essay, and then we can go into question and answer if anybody has them. So as you'll see up on the screen here, there are 2 great places in South you can get college essay help all 5 days of the week. Okay, so the first one is going to be the College and Career Center. Katie and Kelsey, who you've probably met if you're seniors by now. Parents, they were the 2 who did the intro and the welcome session. Have drop-in hours every day, 3:30 to 4:30. On Wednesdays are a little bit longer, 1 to 4:30. And no appointment necessary. You can just drop in. Hey, can you proofread my essay? Share your screen. Boom. They'll love to do it. They're experts. Another way to do that is to make an appointment with Katie and Kelsey if you do want some more of that one-on-one help. Another option is the writer's room. So seniors, you might be familiar with our writer's room. It's a writing center we have at South. It's totally free to all students, and they have drop-in hours 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30. You can go in there and get feedback. They're great people to edit or help you even just like start your essay. And then, as I mentioned, your school counselor is a great resource if you want to make an appointment with them to talk through the process. And if there are any seniors in this or parents of seniors, I'll take this time to plug senior appointments that need to be made, hopefully by November 1st. And you can access that off the South Counseling webpage. Again, this will be uploaded to the CCC website, and these are all linked in the presentation, so you can just access them with a click. All right, at this time, we'll open it up. If anybody has any questions, or you can say them out loud or type them in the chat.
And someone did type a question in the chat asking, would you share some successful college essays based on the different types of colleges and based on the different, or could you recommend a link?
So the activity that I usually do with this presentation has 3 examples of an admitted, a waitlist, and a denied essay. And I'm so bummed that they're back in the building, which I don't have access to. So I don't have any examples of essays. I would, some really great resources. I would definitely recommend your student make an appointment in the CCC. They might have some previous essays students are willing to share. Otherwise, I know the College Board is a really good resource. Sometimes they have some templates up. But again, I would just really recommend making that appointment in the CCC.
So I'm gonna keep reading you some more questions. Yeah. When and how would we submit our essays, and does it depend on the college?
That's a good question. So you submit your essay typically on the school's website. That's when you submit your application. Okay, if you're using the Common App, you'll submit it on the Common App website. If you're using, for example, you're applying to the U of M and just the U of M, the essay is right on the application online. So it's not a separate thing you mail in or upload or email. It's just going to be right on the application, like the same way you'll enter your personal information, your transcript, and upload your essay. And so yes, it will depend on the college. Common App, you'll write one essay, and that sends to all the applications or all the schools you selected that use the Common App. Or if you're applying to one singular school, you'll just use that school's website.
And another question is, so it's best to write essays for each college you want to go to, not broad ones you can submit multiple times?
So that's another good question. So I don't really have a solid answer to that question because you can definitely use an essay you've written before. A lot of students will do that with scholarships, write one essay. So definitely an option. One thing I'm going to say is you're going to want to remember to change the name of the school in your essay. I've seen that happen before. You submit the University of Minnesota to the University of Wisconsin, and they don't like that very much. But if you are applying, like I said, on the Common App, you just write one and you submit it to all the schools receive that, knowing that you wrote it for the Common App. So they won't think you're trying to trick them or anything like that. Yeah, definitely. I see that comment in the chat about the singular essay. Yeah, so each school, they might have very different prompts, and so it wouldn't even make sense to use the same essay. You might transfer some of the same ideas, which would make sense, but as far as using the same exact essay, probably won't work out with every school just because of different prompts. Yeah.
And if you guys have other questions about the essay and or just any of the process, kind of more general questions rather than super specific, feel free to ask those too. I know that it feels like when you're online and transitioning between a lot of things, time can, like my last session felt like it went really fast, and we did get started a few minutes late due to some technical difficulties. So we have a little more time now that we've gotten that all figured out. So if there's other things you didn't get a chance to ask, feel free now. And Elliot, do you see in the chat?
Is it possible for a college that is linked to the Common App to not use one of the prompts that the Common App gives? If I'm understanding the question correctly, no. You will, if you apply to the school through the Common App, then those are the only prompts that you're going to be able to use or that they would expect you to use. If you apply to a school that uses the Common App, but you don't choose the Common App, so let's say you apply to the U of M, it might be a different prompt on their website. I can't say for sure that the Common App and the actual website will be the same. When the two of you applied for college, how did you prep for the essay? Could you share your personal experience? Sure. So like I said, my gymnastics coach proofread my essay. I wrote about I did an exchange program in just a city right outside Mexico City for my junior year of high school. And I had a really great experience there. It was my first time out of the country. It was my first time with, being away from home for a long time. And I was going into, at that point, my major was Spanish. And so I really used that personal experience I had that related to the field of study I wanted to go into at the college, and tied that all into an essay about, my passions and what I would add to the campus as a student. And like I said, I had it edited by someone close to me. And I remember I did open my essay with like a quote. I can't remember what quote it was, but I can picture it. It was like a quote at the top, and then like I started the essay underneath. But for some reason, I'm remembering that. Yeah, I don't know if Ms. Clark.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to think, but I know I specifically wrote my college essay on someone who had an influence on me, who was my school counselor. And actually, at that point, I wanted to be a school counselor. And so, or that led me to wanting to be a school counselor. And so, back then, I was just going into general psychology until I could know for sure. But so that was, I don't know about tips. Trying to think, it was a little while ago. But I don't, so I don't know exactly, but I can't remember offhand. We did have a college and career center at my school, so I'm sure I used them.
Yeah, I think just a common theme between me and Miss Clark there that you can see is just writing about what you know, right? Writing about something you're comfortable with, um, writing maybe about something that if you're comfortable sharing something personal that you've gone through. So they can just really hear your authentic voice, what you are going to add, not only in classes, but on the campus, maybe in extracurriculars, like who you are just as a holistic person.
The other thing I was just going to mention quick was just that a lot of times too, in addition to college, when you are applying to scholarships as well, they may have a lot of different types of essay questions they're asking. For example, it just made me think when I brought up, writing about my school counselor and their impact. Right now, there's a scholarship out there that is coming up due now it's about a week, but it's not a really long essay. It's like a shorter one, and it's writing about the impact your school counselor or throughout any of your career has had on you. And students are able to get money from just writing about something like that, if they win that. But so there's a lot of different types of things like that maybe if there are multiple essays, they can be used for other things as well as college.
Yeah, definitely. College essays, scholarships, maybe specific programs they're looking to, maybe like an honors program or a specific school within a college. Those are, all multi-use essays or maybe listing them. So let's see, Lily, can you send in an essay with a prompt you made? So yep, on the Common App, the 7th prompt option is, let's see if I can go back on my, so share an essay, oh, I lost it. Share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. So the answer to that, Lily, is yeah, you can on the Common App. It sounds fun. It sounds a little risky. It sounds like a challenge. It's definitely something I would check in with the CCC about to see maybe if they have a past experience with a student doing that and can give you some advice. I think that sounds fun. Many times college apps or essays would like you to elaborate on diversity. What would be your angle, both academic and personal? Yeah, I definitely think that especially in our current community in Minneapolis and in America, that it's no secret people are going to be talking about race, diversity, culture, ethnicity, et cetera, gender, what have you, right? And that it's important that if that's something that the student wants to talk about in their essay, that they feel comfortable and that they absolutely share that. I think it's important to include. I don't think anyone should feel as if they can't. I think those experiences that students have with diversity in both academic or personal settings are worth sharing and a great place to start in their essay. Or maybe it's a goal they have to attend a school with diversity because it's important to them. I think it's a great opportunity to write about, and definitely that's something I would encourage students to write about. I know I said this before, but the CCC and your school counselors are great resources for having those types of conversations. Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, absolutely. I would say essays by email are a great option in or out of distance learning. I think that, you know, school counselors and the CCC, everyone gets busy and it might be a week before you can get an appointment. Sending an email might be a little bit of a quicker turnaround. And in distance learning, that's kind of what we got going on. So yes, I would definitely recommend students contact, whether it be a coordinator, their school counselor, or an English teacher, or even the writer's room, and exchanging those essays by email. There's a lot of, like I know Google Docs, you can do like edits and comments. You guys can almost chat back and forth. I think a lot of really great ways to have those conversations about essays over email or on distance learning for sure. Great. It looks like people are headed out. Thanks everyone for being here. I know this is kind of a new thing for all of us to be in this virtual world. So I hope you have a great rest of your night. And thanks again for your questions and for being here.